State your name for the record, please.
My name is Todd Click.
Spell it into the record, please.
Todd, Todd, Click, Click.
What do you do for a living?
I am currently a parole agent with the state of Indiana.
And how long have you been doing that?
I have been with parole since March of this year.
What did you do before that?
I was a police officer with the Rushville Police Department.
And how long were you with the Rushville Police?
February 6th of 2001, until December 31st of 2021.
Was there an occasion where you were a part of an investigative team focused on the Delphi murders?
Yes, I was.
How did you get involved in that?
Sometime in June of 2018, Detective Greg Ferenczi and Detective Kevin Murphy came to the Rushville Police Department to interview an individual by the name of Elvis Fields. They requested to use our interview room. They asked if I could operate the recording equipment for them. I was the head of our criminal investigations unit at the time, so I provided assistance to them.
And did that kind of evolve into something more over time?
After the interview, they asked me kind of what I thought about the interview. I kind of gave them a brief opinion of what I had seen. They asked me if I was familiar with Elvis Fields and I told them that I was, so then we then went back to my office and discussed Mr. Fields for a brief period of time.
Okay. What then did you do?
I'm sorry.
What was your next kind of involvement in the investigation?
I believe it was in August of 2018, Detective Ferenczi called me and said.
Okay.
And then, it was about a week or two later, Detective Ferenczi called me and said that Mary Abrams had made another recording with her brother, Elvis, and he asked if I could go and get that recording and provide it to him.
Okay. What's your next memory about your involvement in the investigation?
Detective Ferenczi asked me if I could try and find some type of link between Elvis Fields and the Delphi area. I searched through the Rushville Police Department's database, trying to see if there might be any correlation between Mr. Fields and Delphi. I originally contacted Detective Ferenczi and told him that I was initially unable to come up with any type of connection between Elvis Fields and Delphi. It was at that time that Detective Ferenczi told me that a subject by the name of Brad Holder and a subject by the name of Patrick Westfall were possible suspects in the homicides, and Detective Ferenczi asked if I would review their Facebook pages to see if I might find anything that might be of a Rushville link, so I did that.
What did you find?
I initially did not find anything on Mr. Westfall's Facebook page. Then, when I was scrolling through Facebook page of Brad Holder, I found a photograph of approximately 6 individuals wearing Vinlander t-shirts, and one of those individuals I immediately recognized as Johnny Messer, and that Johnny Messer was from Rushville.
Okay. What, then, did that cause you to do, if anything?
At that point, I had known, from previous dealings, that Johnny Messer's uncle was a man by the name of Billy Messer, and that Billy Messer and Elvis Fields briefly lived together for a period of time, and then I relayed that information to Detective Ferenczi.
Then what happened?
It was at that point that Detective Ferenczi and Detective Murphy decided that they were going to come to Rushville to try and interview Mr. Johnny Messer.
Okay. Did you find whether or not Elvis and Johnny Messer knew each other?
We eventually did through interview and interrogations.
Did Johnny say that he knew Elvis and vice versa?
Initially, Johnny denied knowing Elvis Fields, but then, in subsequent interviews, he did admit that he did know Elvis and that he used to take firewood and beer and cigarettes and some groceries over to their house periodically.
Okay. I think where you had left off was they wanted to interview Johnny Messer. Who was they?
That would have been Detective Murphy and Detective Ferenczi.
What happened of significance, if anything, with that interview?
They interviewed him about his involvement with the Vinlander group. He, or I should say Johnny Messer, initially said that he was a part of the group, but he was not real big into the Odinism aspect and that he knew Patrick Westfall fairly well, but what not real familiar with Brad Holder.
Okay. And was Patrick Westfall? Did they ask him whether he helped recruit for the Vinlanders? Was that a part of that conversation?
Yeah, we did ask him if he had done any type of recruiting for the Vinlander group, and he denied that he was any type of recruiter for the group.
Okay. Did you investigate whether his claims that he was not a recruiter were accurate?
Yes, I did.
And what did you find out?
Johnny had spoken with several people from Rushville about the Vinlander group, and I found 3 specific individuals that he actively tried to recruit to join the organization.
Do you remember their names?
Yes. One was an individual by the name of Brandon Mansfield, one was an individual by the name of David Fields, and one was an individual by the name of Josh Moore.
Okay. So is it your belief, based upon what Johnny's answer to you was when he said, "I'm not a recruiter"? Based upon finding those people, did you think he was being truthful, or?
No, he was being dishonest when he said that he was not a recruiter.
Okay. What happened, tell me, next in the involvement of this investigation?
Okay. Eventually, we conducted an interview with Elvis Fields and Ned Smith.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you learn that was of note from those interviews?
I specifically asked Mr. Fields about some of the incriminating statements that he had made to his sister. He denied ever making those statements, denied.
Did he ever tell you, he being Elvis, that, "I don't know Brad Holder, but I follow him on Facebook," or, "He follows me on Facebook"? Was there anything like that?
There was no conversation like that was said to me, no.
Okay. Later on, did you find out that they did have some connection to each other, Elvis and Brad Holder?
Detective Ferenczi had conducted an investigation using some Facebook posts that he had compilated between Brad Holder's Facebook page and Elvis Fields' Facebook page, and there was some very similar photos that he had put together as kind of a side-by-side comparison of Mr. Holder and Mr. Fields.
Did you think that there was a similarity in those photos?
When I initially saw those photos, I was skeptical, but kind of kept an open mind. As the investigation progressed and kind of the totality of the information kind of came together, I could see where those Facebook posts that Mr. Holder did and Mr. Fields did were similar in nature and seemed to be linking.
Okay. Well, what was it about the totality? I mean, what else was going on that would cause you to think, yeah, maybe THSA guys are looking at each other's posts or mimicking each other's posts?
Well, it wasn't so much mimicking each other's posts, but we started finding other individuals that Mr. Fields and Mr. Holder had in common together.
And who is that?
One of those individuals was named, a gentleman by the name of Josh.
Tell the court about Josh Chrisman.
Mr. Chrisman was originally a member of an organization called Sons of Odin that later transformed into a group called the Patriot Guard. During 2016, there was a Make America Great Again rally that occurred in Indianapolis where the Vinlanders and the American Guard got together. They said that they were providing security there because there was supposed to be some Antifa group PS that were supposed to be there at the rally. After the rally, the Vinlander group and the American Guard group all went back to a house owned by a gentleman of name Mickey McGinley, and then that's where Mr. Chrisman and Mr. Holder and Mr. Westfall, Johnny Messer, they all kind of partied together that evening.
Okay. But you said that Chrisman was also connected to, not just to Brad Holder, but also to Elvis?
That is correct.
What's that connection?
Okay. So Elvis would do some side work, and he worked at a hog barn in Rushville that was owned by Flynn Livestock. Some of the semi-truck drivers would pay Mr. Fields $20 to load and unload their semis for them. Mr. Chrisman was a semi-truck driver for the Flynns, who would transport livestock from the hog barn to different areas in the state.
Okay. And how did Elvis get connected with that, or why do you think that?
Through interviews with people that worked at the hog barn and also an interview later on with Johnny Messer, we learned that Elvis would specifically
And where would those deliveries go?
Some of those deliveries were to Whiteman Pig Farm and Indiana Packers here in Delphi, and then another location was the Tyson plant in Logansport.
Okay. And so what did all of that, and that, was that your work, your investigative work, all of that?
Yes.
Okay. And what did all of that investigative work tell you about the connections between Elvis and Brad Holder?
Well, there was a common denominator between the two of them, and that was Mr. Chrisman.
But also Johnny Messer, he was also a common denominator?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And how would it be that, based upon your investigation, Elvis would get up to Delphi, if he did?
I had learned through an interview with another person that worked at the hog barn. He told me that Elvis would sometimes go on these deliveries to Delphi with Mr. Chrisman and another semi-driver by the name of Douglas Ed Hunt. Through the course of my investigation, that individual also said that Mr. Chrisman had a girlfriend that lived in the Delphi/Lafayette area, and that every time he would make a delivery up this way, he would meet with his girlfriend and he would meet with his friends that were in this area. I found that on February 13 of 2017, Mr. Chrisman took a load of hogs from the Whiteman Pig Farm to a slaughterhouse up in Michigan called.
Okay. If it was admitted into evidence earlier, just before you got on, Elvis Fields admitting that he had been following, or his story was he was mimicking, Brad Holder was mimicking Elvis Fields' Facebook page, and I know this is after the fact, but would that information impact any thoughts that you had on the investigation?
The only impact that it had on me was that it suggested that it was connected between the two, that Elvis Fields and Brad Holder and Josh Chrisman knew each other.
Okay. Just give me a second. At some point in time, you learned that Richard Allen had been arrested. Is that correct?
Yes.
What, if anything, did that cause you to do?
Initially, when I heard of the arrest, I was kind of shocked and confused. Throughout the course of
I'm gonna object at this point. What is this relevant to any third-party motive or connecting a third party to the crime?
How's it relevant?
Well, apparently, we're not playing nice here, but what goes on here is, you're gonna find out, is Mr. Click sends a letter to the prosecution, who doesn't turn it over to us for 90 days, and I think that's relevant to, us not getting information that goes toward third-party suspect.
I'm aware of that letter, it's been presented in other.
It actually is, I think, in Frank's one, which you have taken judicial notice of, so I'll move on.
Thank you.
I have no other questions.
Okay. Mr. McClelland.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Click, I'll try to start here at the beginning. When you reviewed the Facebook pages of Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall, are those the two Facebook pages you reviewed?
There were several pictures from the two from.
Did you review the Facebook pages of Patrick Westfall and Brad Holder?
Yes, I did.
Okay. During your review of those Facebook pages, did you see any pictures that linked either Brad Holder or Patrick Westfall to the killing of AW and LG?
No, I did not.
And you said that Messer spoke to several people and tried to recruit Vinlanders and that Johnny Messer knew Elvis Fields. Did you ever, and throughout your investigation, did you ever find any evidence that Elvis Fields and Johnny Messer would hang out at social events together?
Not social events, no.
Did you find any evidence that they ever hung out at all?
I had testimonial evidence that LVS Fields had been to one of Johnny Messer's residences at one time.
Were you ever able to confirm that?
Unfortunately, no. The original person that I spoke with passed away from cancer and I was unable to do any follow-up questioning with him.
And you said when you conducted the interview, you conducted an interview of Elvis and Ned. Is that Ned Smith? Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you conduct any other interviews?
Yes, I did.
Okay, that's a bad question. Did you conduct any interview with Patrick Westfall?
No.
What about Brad Holder?
No.
What about Johnny Messer?
Yes, I did.
When you interviewed Johnny Messer, did you ask him to search his phone?
No.
Why not?
At that time, it had been several years since the murders had occurred, and I did not believe at that time that we had any information that would lead us to believe that evidence of that murder would have been on his phone at that current time.
What about when you interviewed Elvis Fields, did you grab his phone?
No, I did not.
Is it the same answer as what you said for Johnny Messer? Why didn't you grab Elvis's phone?
Initially, when I first interviewed Elvis, I don't believe he had a cell phone at that time.
What about Ned Smith? Did you ask him for his phone?
No, I did not.
Why not?
Ned Smith was never a suspect initially in my eyes.
Now, you talked about the Facebook pages and how the photos were similar. Maybe I misheard you, but do you think Brad Holder and Elvis were trying to mimic each other?
It appeared that one person was trying to mimic the other, yes.
Okay. And when you talked to, did you talk to Mr. Chrisman?
Yes, I did.
And did you ask him about Elvis Fields?
No. When I originally talked with Mr. Chrisman, I did not have the knowledge that there was a connection between him and Mr. Fields.
After you found out about that knowledge, did you go back and talk to him?
I attempted to, and he would not talk to me again.
Okay. And so you were never able to confirm that Elvis rode with Chrisman on any deliveries?
I did not have any direct evidence of that, no.
Okay. Did you have any direct evidence that Elvis rode with anybody on any deliveries?
Just testimonial evidence.
Okay. Were you ever able to find any link between Brad Holder and the killing of AW and LG?
Could you be more specific?
Sure. Were you ever able to place Brad Holder in Delphi at the time of the killings of AW and LG?
No, I was not.
Through your investigation, did you ever find any evidence linking him to the crime scene?
There was that's kind of hard to answer.
Okay.
I had learned that, from Johnny, the interview that I did with Johnny Messer, that Brad Holder liked to take sticks and form them into the shape of runes, and I knew that runes had been found placed on the girls at the crime scene, but as far as any direct evidence that Mr. Holder was the one that was directly responsible for putting those runes on the girls, I was never able to find any direct evidence to that.
And I'll try to make this quicker. The people you're investigating, were you ever able to tie any of them were you ever able to place any of them in Delphi at the time of the crime?
No, I was not.
Were you ever able to find anything that directly ties them to the crime scene?
I would say, I think I know what you're asking, and the answer would be no.
Were you ever able to confirm that Johnny Messer had introduced Elvis to Brad Holder?
No, I was not.
Now, you did an interview with Detective Vito of the ISP on August 30th of 2023. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And do you recall telling Detective Vito about your investigation and your conclusions from that investigation?
I remember that we spoke briefly, about an hour, and I kind of summarized the investigation that Detective Ferenczi and Detective Murphy NDI had conducted.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure you're aware the defense believes that this was done by this group of people, Patrick Westfall, Brad Holder, Elvis Fields, and that it was a ritualistic killing of the girls.
Yeah.
Have you heard that theory from the defense?
Yes, I have.
Is that what you believe?
No, it's not.
What do you believe happened?
I believe that there was an Odinistic ritual that was occurring that the girls.
And you believe Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall were both on the bridge that day, correct?
That is my belief, yes.
And you believe the girls went to the bridge to meet Logan Holder?
That is correct.
And you believe that Elvis and Johnny Messer participated?
I believe they were present, yes.
In the interview with Detective Vito, you said you believe that, but let me make sure I get this right. But there was no smoking gun or concrete evidence, it was just strong circumstantial stuff.
That's correct.
Okay. Did you get an opportunity to, let me back up. What is your understanding of when the girls were abducted and killed? What time frame?
The time frame that I was originally told is that the girls would have been abducted off the bridge roughly around the 2:30 p.m. time frame and that they would have been killed sometime in between the time that they were abducted to the time that the search party began, which I believe was, if I remember correctly, maybe around 5:30 p.m., 6 o'clock p.m., something like that.
Throughout your investigation, is that the time frame you worked on for the death of the girls? Or is that the time frame you worked within for the death of the girls?
That was the time frame that was popular for the investigation.
Did you have an opportunity, through your investigation, to see any alibi evidence for Brad Holder?
No, I did not.
Did you have any opportunity through your investigation to see any evidence or whether or not Logan Holder was in school that day?
No, I did not.
Did you look at any alibi evidence for anyone else in that group? Patrick Westfall?
No, sir.
Elvis Fields?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What alibi evidence did you see from Elvis Fields?
Well, Elvis originally said that he and Ned Smith and Rod Abrams were at a hospital in Muncie on that day, and then later told me that they weren't sure what they were doing that day and that they believed that they were shopping for a Valentine's Day present for Ned Smith's girlfriend.
Did you ever see any evidence from any information from Elvis Fields' phone?
No, I did not.
Okay. Just a moment, Judge. Officer Click, what facts can you articulate here in court today that show that a ritual was performed on February 13, 2017, when the girls were killed?
The only thing I can testify to is what I was told by Detective Ferenczi, and...
Did you collect any evidence, you personally through your investigation, that pointed to the fact, or pointed to that a ritual was held that day the girls were killed? Did you find anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you find anything through your investigation that placed Elvis Fields, Patrick Westfall, Brad Holder, or Logan Holder, or Johnny Messer on the Monon High Bridge the day the girls were murdered?
There was no direct evidence, no.
Did you find any evidence through your investigation that placed any one of those people in Delphi on February 13, 2017?
No, sir.
Is it fair to say that your belief of what happened that day is just a theory?
My belief is based on testimonial evidence that we had obtained and based on some of the training and experience that I have received throughout my police career.
Is that testimonial evidence that Special Agent Ferenczi gathered through interviews that he did and he reported back to you?
Part of it was collected, yes.
Okay. What interviews did you do that tied any one of those people to the murder of AW and LG?
There was no direct evidence that we were able to obtain, and that was.
You said that in your report to, or in your interview with Detective Vito, you said there was strong circumstantial stuff. What did you mean by that?
I think when you took the totality of some of the testimonial evidence that we had gathered from people, that led me to my belief of the theory of what I believe or how the girls were killed that day.
And I hate to keep circling back to this, but do you recall any specific testimonial evidence that led you to that belief? You talked about the BAU and what Special Agent Ferenczi reported to you. Do you remember any testimonial evidence within your investigation that led you to that belief?
It was just a totality of everything that we had done throughout our investigation.
Can you give me those facts that encompass that totality?
We knew that Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall were Vinlanders who practiced Odinism. The BAU report basically stated that the crime scene had Odinistic tendencies to that, and we knew that Mr. Holder had a direct tie to one of the victims of the homicide.
Is that the totality of the testimonial evidence that led you to your belief?
In a nutshell, yes. Mr. McClelland, okay. I don't have any other questions, Judge. Thank you.
Mr. Baldwin.
Did you ever interview Taylor Hornaday?
Yes, I did.
Was there any significance about her testimony or her statement related to the crime?
Could you be more specific?
Yeah, it's a terrible question. I'll move, but what was the substance of the interview related to Johnny Messer and anything his involvement in Delphi, if any?
It was mainly our testimony. Through the interview with Taylor Hornaday, we were basically able to learn a better timeline of Johnny's involvement with the Vinlander group, and we were able to determine some other crimes that Mr. Messer had been involved in.
Were you a part of an interview where she talked about Johnny being up there in Delphi during February 17th? I'm sorry, February 13th and 14th of 2017?
Yeah, Taylor did indicate that she believed Johnny Messer was up in the Delphi area around Valentine's Day of 2017.
And did she talk about the condition of her vehicle when she came back?
She said that there was some type of red substance that was found on the side of her vehicle that she believed was blood. She originally thought that he may have struck a possum or something along those lines.
But that was after she had been up. After she thought he had been up visiting Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall in Delphi the weekend that the girls, or the days that the girls were killed?
That is correct.
No other questions.
Mr. McClelland.
Yes. Mr. Click, when you interviewed Taylor Hornaday, isn't it true she said just up there, not up there in Delphi?
Yes, that's correct.
And so she didn't say, up there in Delphi? She said up there?
That is the words that she used.
And I think she clarified later on that up there. When she said up there, she meant Indianapolis. Is that correct?
Johnny did use terms for Indianapolis, up there, and he also used the term up there for the Delphi area.
And do you know whether or not Taylor Hornaday's vehicle and the spot she talked about, whether or not it was processed by crime scene techs?
Yes, it was.
And was it?
Yes, it was.
And was it blood on the vehicle?
I never found the results of what the crime scene techs did.
Okay. I don't have any other questions, Judge.
No other questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Click. You may step down. You may call your next witness.